Network, and I have just started our recording. Elizabeth, welcome back. So good to have you.
Thanks so much, Maysha. Always great to be here.
It is always a joy and a privilege and an honor to have you. And I say it tongue in cheek, but I almost feel like it's the case because it feels like if I ever want a vacation, I'm just going to say, hey, Elizabeth, what are you doing? I feel like my friends, they say to me, this is, so when's Elizabeth going to be back on? I love Elizabeth. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. So definitely, I feel like it would not be As Long As You're Breathing without Elizabeth Kipp on, at least on a regular basis. Yeah, so welcome. So glad to have you. And I know today we're going to talk about the why and how of forgiveness. And I know how very important that is. We are doing a different format today. We're doing it in Zoom. We are streaming to Facebook, to the page, As Long As You're Breathing. We do have someone here with us. Thank you for joining us. She's chosen to be off camera. You can join us. You can be on camera with us if you like. We're good with it. Or you can be in the house with us if you want to. We'd love that. Or you can be off camera as well. You can ask questions here with us. We would love that. However you'd like to do it. We certainly want this to be as inclusive as it can be because we want it to be interactive and we want to answer questions. We want this to be, the goal of all of this is to raise everyone's vibration and for everyone to live their highest and best life possible. And so, Elizabeth, without further ado, let's talk forgiveness.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Maysha. This is a great platform, and I so appreciate it. I'm going to start with this quote from Noah Levine. And there's a whole story about him, but I'm going to say this quote because it's pretty awesome. Okay. Forgiveness isn't an advanced practice. It's a foundational practice.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
So I'm going to just go through the why and the how of forgiveness.
Okay.
And the backstory on that is people say forgive, and my thing is when somebody gives a directive, and that's a directive, I would like to know what the grounded action step is to that. I don't want to just, everybody just maybe assumes I know how to do that, and I don't necessarily, right? So
yeah.
So I went on my own inquiry, and I kind of did an assignment around forgiving really epically difficult, for me, in my perception, epically difficult people to forgive from my perspective.
Okay.
And I came up with a process. Okay. And that was helpful for me. So, and then I wrote it down and I wrote this whole program. But anyway, so I'm going to share the why and the how. You have an event in your life that shakes you to the core. You feel powerless and helpless to do anything about it. You're filled to the brim with feelings that leave you exceedingly uncomfortable in your skin. You want to find the valve to release the pressure, but you're not sure where it is or how to implement it when you find it. You want to escape, but does hitting the escape button really serve to heal or hinder? I understand. When such challenges in life come my way, a part of me wants to run away. A part of me just wants to crawl in a hole somewhere, shut down and disappear, or find solace in some distraction, or just numb my feelings, or block out the whole thing. I see myself wanting to look away. I could engage in all manner of what ifs and why did this happen, and driven myself right into serious illness myself with such negativity and insistence on holding on. We can be aware of these patterns of avoidance or escapism as a coping mechanism. We can decide, instead of turning away from the hurt and wrong we've experienced, to turn toward this healing this negative spiral of feeling so victimized by events we are powerless to change. We don't have to sit in suffering. We can allow ourselves to feel what is coming up for us, but not allow ourselves to be gobbled up by it from the inside out and by anger and resentment. We can make peace. We can learn to let go. It's more of an art than a science for me. Forgiveness, letting go, is more of a process, a shift in perspective, rather than a sequence of discreetly measured steps to follow, and then it's complete. Here's the how. The first step in letting go is presence. We need presence to face our place of resistance around the hurt we experienced and allow ourselves to feel where it is expressing itself as sensation in the body. Next, strive to understand the meaning we're making of what happened. We can't change what happened, but we can shift our perspective on what we believe about this event. Next, accept our humanness. Anger and frustration are all part of the human experience. Everyone feels these emotions. There's no shame in this. Instead of feeling that as if we're in a dueling match with these qualities, we can turn into and accept what we're feeling. We learn to know these feelings intimately and accept them as an integral part of who we are. We deepen into self-compassion. Once we accept that we have these feelings, we come into a place of peace with them. Next, become willing to forgive. The beginning of forgiveness is being willing to let go of whatever it was that we're grasping onto so tightly around the hurt or wrong done to us. Then ask for help from a higher authority. The word,
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
The word forgive comes from the words to forgo or forget. We might be able to intellectually forgive someone, but if we do not remove the emotional charge around this event that we're forgiving, then we haven't fully forgiven. We're not saying we're condoning what we're forgiving. We're saying fully forgiving. I might say, I forgive, but I'll never forget. And by forgetting, we're always going to protect ourselves from being hurt like this again. Hence, we're unwilling to let this incident go altogether. It's a trap, this thing that we do. We want to keep ourselves safe, and we can make ourselves sick doing that, right? This is not true and full forgiveness. If you're having difficulty truly forgiving, well, what do? Where do you turn? You turn to a power greater than yourself to help you take this difficult step, because you don't want this event to stay stuck within you. You may not have found a way to let go of it by yourself. You ask, higher power, all that you are, help me forgive all the events around this situation, no matter what. Help everyone involved in this situation to forgive me, and help us to forgive ourselves completely and totally. Please and thank you. As you say this, you might notice a release of energy in your body. The emotional charge that is built up inside the body dissipates. By asking for help, the higher power grants your transcendence through this block of resentment toward what happened. True forgiveness lies in being able to release what is inside your physiology around the hurt or wrong you experienced. Otherwise, you're not addressing the core of the problem, and it will reemerge. So we ask a higher power to forgive ourselves. If there are those we cannot forgive, we pray for them and we send them a blessing, and everybody gets a blessing.
Yes.
Next, we drop judgments about the situation. Move yourself from a position of feeling so much negativity to one of neutrality and objectivity. Here again, you can turn to a higher power of your understanding for help. I let go of my fear of being alone in this world without my friend here on this plane of existence, and remember to my connection to the all that is and my higher power. I remembered that even in the next realm, my friend remains in the all that is. Our connection remains eternally. Let go of the fear of uncertainty. The most important teacher lives within you. Remember and honor your own worth and your own power. Finally, live in the present. We started with presence and we end with presence. Stop daydreaming about the past and come into the present. Oh, we lost Kim. So that's the how and why. And now I'm going to run through the 5 forgivenesses and the 5 gratitudes. First, forgiveness. Here, we forgive the creator of all that is, whatever we choose to call this original creative energy, and ourselves for the sense of separation we feel between where we begin and end and where it begins and ends. Second, forgiveness. Forgive the karma with which we were born. We each come into life with gifts and challenges. Third, forgiveness. Forgive the constant change in the environment and the cause and effect which arise because of it. Yes. Change brings challenge to us, and it is constant. It is our courage that determines our life rather than the challenges themselves.
Yes.
Fourth, forgiveness. Forgive the limitations with which we are born, the limits imposed by flesh and bone, by the mind, our limited view of what divinity is or isn't. We forgive our limitations and we do the best we can with what we have. We do our best to realize and actualize the infinity within us. Forgive that we live in paradox. Nature is both limited and unlimited. Fifth, forgiveness. Forgive yourself by having to learn life by living it and any judgments we make because of it. This fifth forgiveness turns us to love ourselves in all aspects, all our gifts, all our foibles and faults. We look closely at our behavior and our attitudes towards all things, from our inner world to our exterior world, and bring forgiveness and love to all of it. Now for the gratitudes. First, gratitude. Be thankful for that though we may feel separate from time to time, we are in truth inseparable from the Creator. Second, gratitude. Be thankful for the gifts and challenges with which we're born. Third, gratitude. Be thankful that change is a constant. Fourth, gratitude. Be thankful that we can live in paradox. And fifth, gratitude. Be thankful that we can learn to live life by living it. Be thankful that we have power of choice and free will. And there endeth the lesson.
Wow. Where do I start? Be thankful that we can live in paradox. I think I want to, this is something that came up with me a few days ago. So many people don't understand my relationship that I had with my dad, because my dad was a huge source of issues, of issues, no doubt. But I instinctively understood, thank goodness, innately, thank goodness, and that was a gift, that was just what Daddy was here to do. That Daddy had issues himself, and that was just how it was. And although I was a little girl and should not have had to go through those things, yet those were the things I was to go through, and they were the things. That's just what our life was. And even as a child, I was scared and should not have been going through them. But almost as fast as the things would happen, even if I couldn't live at home, I would release them and forgive him. Now, I didn't release the fear for a while. And there was some things that took me longer to release. But what I did and what healed the relationship, and the reason Daddy and I were able to even maintain a relationship, I can't think of a time when Daddy and I weren't able to talk and stay close. And I can't think of a time we weren't ever able to talk and have a relationship no matter what he did. And it's because no matter what he did, as I forgave, I did so, okay, this is what he did, and it was wrong, but this is all that he's done that's right. So I released the bad and replaced it with all the good.
Mm.
And so to me, that was the paradox of it. Was my daddy was a walking paradox, you know.
Mhm.
um, and I believe that's what healed our relationship and what kept us, you know. Now it was there were things that my whole life I dealt with because of it, but we had a relationship my whole life that was pretty darn solid, and I became who I became because of him. And I see the rough patches, and I see them now because of the rough patches and the roughness, but I see all the good in me too because of all the good in the relationship. And so even the bad, I have a thankfulness for. I have an appreciation for. I have a, do I wish that it could have happened differently? I do. But I can look at it all and I can see there was a purpose. I can see there was a reason, and I can see that I have a peace about it and I'm okay with it. And I don't see daddy as, I see daddy as my daddy, and I love him and I'm good with it.
Mm.
And and I'm whole, and I see the good.
Mm.
So all the, I've had to pull out, you know, memories and things, had to clear some bad, but it was all filled in with the good, because there was much more good than there was bad. As bad as the bad was, there was much more good. And to
Mm.
me, that's the paradox.
Mm. Well, we can't change people, places, and things. We can only change our reaction,
Yeah.
right? And so you said your dad made you who you are. I say you made you who you are
Yes.
because of your actions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, credit where credit's due there. He applied some pressure, but you reacted to the pressure. That's the thing.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'll take that credit. I'll
Yeah.
take that credit.
Good.
He contributed, no doubt, but ultimately,
Mhm.
yeah, I've cracked under it a few times a little bit,
Mhm. Mhm.
but ultimately, I've come out of the fire stronger every time.
Mhm.
Yeah, and something that Maura, my friend Maura, says is unforgiveness is like drinking poison every day and expecting it to hurt the person that hurt you.
Mhm. Yeah, it'll make us sick. If we hold on to resentment, it'll make us sick. So it's important that we um, find the courage
Hmm.
to face it and deal with it. And if we can't, we need to find somebody who can help us with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what I found is that the things you do, like the modality you bring to it, the ancestral clearing,
Oh.
I spent years in therapy and got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to talk about all that stuff, you know, because, and I cleared some things. My issue with my dad, I dealt with, but what you and I ended up working on were the things that led to my
That's
dad's
right.
issues to begin with.
That's right. Yeah, that's interesting about that ancestral clearing practice is we get to the root
And that's what
and
needed to be
and
cleared.
yeah, we get to the root because it's like you're in the garden and you're pulling weeds, but if you don't get to the actual root, they're going to come back, right? So
Right.
we get to the root and my experience and John Newton's experience, my teacher, he's been doing it 30 years and I've been doing it a little more than 7, is that it's a root in the past, but it's usually not in it. It can be like in our childhood, but it's more likely we came in with it from another, that frequency, we just came in with it from some other thing in the past. farther back in the past. Yeah, farther back in the past. Yeah.
Yes, of course, I have other gifts, and from those other gifts, I do know now that I did a lot more clearing than just what you and I talked about. I did a lot more clearing than that. The specifics of which I don't know, but I have a lot of ancestors now that stand behind me that are like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I come from a long ancestral line of healers and gifted family that didn't get to practice, didn't get to do what it is that they were meant to do or couldn't do because of, well, it wasn't acceptable, it wasn't okay, et cetera, et cetera. And now it's like now they're one of the things I had to do was accept their support. It's like now I feel all this support behind me saying, yes, you're, but I had to accept that because I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was. And that's one of the things that, so, I told you I've been resting a lot. And so all of this has been shown to me that now I have all of these ancestors that now I'm in touch with and I support and I accept that all of that had to be broken free. I mean, there was a lot of anger and resentment and history there that had to be cleared so that these people could come forward now and support me in what I do. And they're all there and they're like, we're holding you up. We're holding you up. And I made this statement earlier today that so much of my life, the person that had my back was me, and that my clairaudience was me helping me because that's who I had. But now I've got all these ancestors because of what you brought into my life with the ancestral clearing. Now the way has been cleared for all of these ancestors that are with me as well. And they've got my back too. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So I'd like to share a little bit about the program I put together, and then
Yes,
I'd like to do an ancestral clearing as a group. That's
yes,
what I'd like to do.
yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. So I put together that teaching, the how and the why, or the why and the how of forgiveness. I put that together. The 5 forgivenesses and the 5 gratitudes came later, but that came in about a year ago. But this was maybe 5-6 years ago. I put this program together, and what I did was I have the why and the how of forgiveness. So everybody's got a grounded action steps that they can kind of put into place. I brought in a meditation to support. So the program's called the 40 Days of Forgiveness program. It's one meditation you do every day for 40 days. And every day you get an email from me on some aspect of forgiveness, and I'll show you the different aspects in a minute. And so there's like a writing on the aspect of forgiveness, like brothers and sisters, like forgiving brothers and sisters, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And then there's an ancestral clearing prayer that goes with it. So there's that. There's quotes from famous people around forgiveness, and some little saying cards and whatever. But it's a nice little program. It's only $24, and there's a lot to it. So it's a lot to work. It took me 18 months to come up with 41, 42 different aspects of forgiveness. It was interesting.
It sounds.
Oh yeah, it is. I'll show you the list here in a minute. It was interesting because I was like, I get to like 20 different aspects, and I'm like, there's gonna be 42, and how do I get there? And lo and behold, my higher power has a great sense of humor. I would get an assignment in some aspect of forgiveness, and that would be the next one.
Of course,
So,
we have to live it.
So this program is based on all the different aspects of forgiveness that I personally had to work.
Of course, that's the way it works. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it's how it works.
And it took 18 months for me to put this thing together. So it was, so it's a lot of 18 months of work around 42 different aspects of forgiveness. So it's 40 days, but there's 2 at the end that are bonuses, right? So that's how that works. So I'll share my screen just for a moment
Okay.
and pull up the, I'm not going to bore everybody with all 40 of them, 42 of them, but this is the list. We start with so there's a teaching, there's the meditation, there's a daily lesson on some aspect of forgiveness. There's a little card you get that's in the email. There's, as I said, there's a forgiveness prayer that goes with each blog, quotes, and then there's the teaching is for each one, each day that you get on each email. The how and the why is there with you, and the meditation, so we don't have to lose it. It's all there together in a package. So and there's also a Facebook group that supports it. So we start with the compassion to forgive ourselves. Then we work on addressing guilt and shame. We learn to forgive and rewrite our script around our story. We learn to relieve silent suffering. We forgive brothers and sisters. We learn to befriend ourselves, befriend our soul. Forgiveness between creativity and failure.
Yes.
Forgiving the unforgivable, right? That was interesting to do. Release yourself from the past and find peace. Why is letting go so hard, and how to make it easier? Forgiveness.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Forgiveness, shortcomings and worthiness. Forgiveness, forgiving versus forgetting. Peacemaking with Mother Earth. Forgiveness, guilt and shame revisited, because it's so ingrained in us. We had to do it twice. It's 2 different aspects of it. We had to do it twice. Fierce honesty and forgiveness. Releasing anxiety and worry through forgiveness. Forgiveness for anger, ourselves, others, and life. Forgiveness for injustice. That's a big one for me. Forgiveness when forgiveness seems hard, and how to make it effortless. Even more self-forgiveness. Again, that's a hard one, so we got to do it twice.
Yeah.
Clearing self-righteousness with forgiveness. Another one for me. Forgiveness and grief. Forgiveness and healing unresolved hurt. Forgiveness and making amends. Holding a grudge, bring forgiveness in. Forgiveness for the lost and abandoned. Suicide, compassion and forgiveness. Forgiving the inner critic. Releasing regret through forgiveness. Forgiveness for fathers, sons, and the patriarchy. Forgiveness for women and the matriarchy. Shower yourself with self-forgiveness, the 5 forgivenesses. Forgiveness is not condoning. How to live forgiveness every day. Be careful what you say to yourself. Forgiveness to help heal broken relationships. Forgiveness between parents and children. Forgiveness for communication. I didn't mean it like that. Peacemaking with humans, between humans and other animals. Releasing disappointment and letdown through forgiveness. When we resist forgiveness, and clearing new spaces and homes. So that's the program. And
Wow.
you can I'm going to stop sharing, and you can just instant message me if you want, or go to my website. You just email me at elizabeth@elizabeth-kipp.com, and I'll hook you up. Anyway, it's a cool program. You can work it at your own pace. You'll get an email every day, and I'm also working on a book to kind of follow it up, called 40 Days. It's the working title, 40 Days of Forgiveness, Practice and Prayers is the name of the book. So I'm currently working on. I don't know when I'll release it, but I'm currently working on that. So yeah, based on this program, but kind of like, just a little bit different for a book, right?
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's it's just, the thing about forgiveness is, I can forgive for this, but not that.
I don't think we get to pick and choose. If we pick and choose, then we're not living we're not living it with an attitude of forgiveness. We're not living a life of forgiveness. And if we don't live a life of forgiveness, then I think we're not doing unto others. And I think we have to do unto others, or I think we're going to find that others aren't going to forgive us. And so I don't think we get to pick and choose, because do we really want others picking and choosing what they forgive us for?
Well, I'm not so much worried. I hear you, but I'm not worried about others. I'm just worried about myself.
Well, and I get
Right.
that. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've heard, I mean, I hear people say, I can forgive for this, but I can't forgive them for that, or that's unforgivable. And I was like, yeah, we got to do something about that. Because that's not where it's kind of like, I love this person, but not that person. And love should be unconditional. Just
Right.
like forgiveness should be kind of, it should be a thing, but it's not the way it works. So that's why I brought on these different aspects, so that it could help people move through their own stuff.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't understand that I can love this person, but I can't love that person either. It doesn't mean that you're condoning what they do or agreeing with what they do.
That's right.
I could agree to disagree with anybody.
Sure.
But to not be able to love someone, that's I don't understand that. I don't understand that kind of thinking. I don't understand that. I don't understand refusing to forgive either. I mean, forgiveness you do for yourself. You do that so you don't eat up your own self. So you're not hurting the other person by not forgiving. Usually the other person you're not forgiving, they move on. It's just yourself that's not moved on.
That's right. Yeah, we have to it's an inside job. It's an inside job. We can say to somebody, I forgive you, but it's inner work that we're doing. It's not outer work. It's directed at someone else, and that you did this thing and I forgive you for doing it. But until we do the inner work around the whatever it is we feel about it, it's going to stick around and keep us sick. Yeah.
The other part of that is, it is true that we do it for ourselves, and the other person may move on and not even be aware of it and may not be hurting at all. But if it is hurting the other person too, then that other person is somebody that we are in relationship with enough that it matters. So it is going to matter. That's an energy loop that is important enough that we need to tend to. I mean, there's some energy loops that don't matter in our lives, and we move on and it doesn't matter. But if it's a relationship that was important enough that the unforgiveness is not just hurting us, but it's hurting them too, then that was a relationship.
Well, that's even more work. Yeah, that's even more work.
Even more work, and it was even that much more important.
Mm-hmm.
So when it is hurting the other person too, that's even that much more important. So yeah, so it's just something that just, I don't know, it just fell out of the sky.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
I have not had any yet, and I'm watching Facebook, and because I've got it here on my phone on Facebook.
Okay.
And we do have someone watching on Facebook, but I don't have any questions there.
Okay.
And I do have, and we did lose our Zoom person. I think I don't know if we lost the connection or what happened, but that's an amazing program, Elizabeth, and that you had to go through all that. Of course I said it.
Okay, that's okay. We teach what we need to learn.
That's absolutely true, and those, that is the thing that I don't think we can teach until we have learned. I think.
Well, I keep learning. I make it a point, because I'm a teacher, but I make it a point to put myself in front of people that are farther down the path than I am,
Mhm.
that can elevate me from where I am. I just next next so it's so I'm always learning, and I'm always widening, right, my perspective, and
Right.
that's very helpful to me. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very helpful to me. Yeah.
As you teach, you learn, and that is the great thing about teaching is as we teach, we learn, and then we teach more and we learn
That's
more.
right. Yeah, it's exactly right. Yeah,
That's what I always loved about teaching is because I love learning. And so if
Mhm.
you teach, even if you're having one of those days where it's like nobody there seems to be even there to learn, because I've had those days, and it's like,
Sure.
okay, nobody else here is getting a thing out of it, but my gosh, I've got like 14 new things out of it. That's my hyperbole.
Mhm.
But I'm like, oh wow, that was good. And I'm like, but it doesn't come from me. It comes from, it comes from the experience. But I do enjoy I enjoy teaching for that reason, is because each time you teach it, it's that spiral upward effect that you get. Every time you experience the material and you think it through or you go through it, it's like
It's richer. It's a
yeah.
richer experience. It enriches the
Right,
experience. Yeah.
right. No, I love teaching for that reason. It's like every time you revisit the topic, there's like we talk about wounds, how we heal wounds, we peel off a new layer. Well, it's the same way when you revisit good things, not just negative things, but good things. You peel off a new layer each time you
Mhm.
revisit the good too. So revisiting things is a good thing,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think and the same thing is true with forgiveness. I think we forgive at deeper levels too. I think we forgive where we can forgive. And then I think something triggers us and I think we come back and we don't sink all the way to the point of that level of anger that we were at or that level of hurt that we were at, but I do think we forgive at deeper and deeper levels, and I think we spiral upward in our own healing as we forgive at deeper and deeper levels too. I've found that with
Sure.
my dad and other things, my own forgiveness of self, the mistakes I've made, because I've
Mhm.
recognized mistakes as I've made them, and it's been like I don't know what else to do in the moment, and it's been like, okay, this is not how I want to handle it, but I don't know what else to do. And then as I've come to terms with it and forgiven myself and worked through it, I've healed and healed at deeper and deeper levels through those things too. So
Mhm.
I think
Yeah,
that's
basically everybody's doing the best they can,
right.
and that's kind of a good working um, algorithm, really, to walk around with. Just that fundamental assumption: everybody's doing the best they can,
Everybody's doing the best they can.
even though it turns out to be um, maybe less than optimal sometimes. It's
Absolutely.
still the best they can do in the moment. Right.
The best you can do in the moment. And I'm a firm believer in spiraling upward. And I believe that some things you do have to talk through to some degree, but I think some things, that's what I love about the ancestral clearing too, is some of it you clear and you don't even know what you're clearing, so you don't
I
have
know. I love that. I love that.
that.
You
You don't
feel
have to
it, but you're like, I don't even know what that was.
okay, so it was causing hurt, it was causing pain, but okay, but it's gone now. Here's the moment and
Yeah.
it's over. So here we are. Let's just
Mhm.
go forward. And I think,
Mhm.
and that's the problem with like traditional therapy and stuff. Now there are some things you do have to talk about or recognize so you don't repeat them. There
Mhm.
are some things you have to define so you don't repeat them. But maybe you don't even do that until that comes up again, and then you recognize it because you cleared it. And
Mhm.
so when that moment comes, you're like, oh wow, I recognize this. And I think that's going to happen. I think I think that some of the stuff that we didn't necessarily, as we were getting the ancestral clearing, we didn't get at that moment. I think that when we come to that
We'll
moment,
get it next time. Yeah.
yeah, in the future,
Ancestor clearing is done in the present moment. This
right,
present moment is different than the last one.
right,
So we're clearing for what's present here. Yeah.
right.
And let's give the viewers an idea of what that is, and then we'll give them an experience.
Sure. Okay, great. Let's do that.
Ancestor clearing is a trademarked, registered process modality that John Newton, that Howard Wills, and you can look him up, howardwills.com, pioneered, and then John Newton of Health Beyond Belief trademarked and developed further, and trademarked and registered that. So he's the only one that teaches it on the planet,
Okay.
and I'm one of his practitioners. So and I do the practice. He teaches us the practice, and then as trainees, as practitioners, then he says, now go, take this and go make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a session with me, it's a little bit different than what it would be with John, but it's the same ancestral clearing. I am a yoga instructor, so I bring in pranayama. I bring in breath work a little bit more than John brings in breath work, but differently.
Mm-hmm.
So I bring that part in, but then I will bring in a breath work just to help facilitate the process as I see fit. Anyway, so it's a process. It's experiential. It's very difficult to explain because it is experiential. It's kind of like, how do you explain chocolate to somebody with words?
Yeah.
Like that.
Chocolate.
You're not allowed to let them smell it or taste it. Now describe it. That's what it's like with Ancestral and trying to explain people what it is. It's like, yeah, really, it's experiential. So it's done in the present moment. I want everybody who's here listening and on the replay, because this work is as powerful in the replay as it is in live. Remember, now when we're dealing in the present moment, we're dealing in the past, present, future, in the quantum field. So we're accessing all of that. So everyone in the future that sees this will have the same effect because we're working in the quantum energies. Yeah. So just get present and notice sensation in the body. And just get present, relax the breath, and stay with sensation, with the sensation in the body, not the story about the sensation, just the sensation in the body, like your butt on the chair and maybe a little tingling in the skin or whatever you're feeling while I do this. Infinite creator, all that you are, source of all that is, was, and ever will be. We ask humbly and gratefully that you help everyone here listening to this and all their relationships, all their ancestors and all of their relationships throughout all relevant time, space, dimension, lives, lifetimes, and incarnations, for all the times they felt let down by life, by family members, by relationships, by anyone representing the creator, for any time they felt let down by the creator in any name or form, for any time they turned their back on the creator or believed that the creator turned its back on them. Please help them all to forgive each other and forgive themselves, be at peace with each other and at peace with themselves. Please and thank you. For all the times you weren't nurtured, loved, supported, and cherished, please help all of you to forgive each other and forgive yourselves. For the times you didn't nurture, love, and support others in the ways they needed. For any times you were out of integrity with one another, with another, and another out of integrity with you, please help all of you forgive and release each other, forgive and release yourselves for the highest good, please and thank you. For all war, battle, Holocaust, genocide, persecution, slavery, injustice of any kind, any oppression, misuse of power, position, authority, politically, spiritually, medically, or any other way. Please help everyone involved, forgive each other, forgive yourselves now and forever, please and thank you. For all hurts and wrongs, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual, financial, through thought, word, or action. All of you to another and another to all of you, please help you all forgive each other and forgive yourselves for the highest good, please and thank you. For all suicide, incest, murder, rape, abortion, infidelity, miscarriage, all of it. Everyone involved directly or indirectly, for all that happened and all you made it mean. Please help all of you to forgive each other and forgive yourselves for the highest good, please and thank you. For any time anyone was too hard-headed, stubborn, judgmental, and too male, For the times you overrode your hearts, didn't listen to your inner knowing, said yes when your heart said no when your heart said yes. For all this, all regret, please help you forgive each other, everyone involved, to forgive each other, forgive yourselves for the highest good, please, and thank you. For all hurts and wrongs to the earth and the life of the earth, Native, Indigenous, First Nation peoples, please help all of you to forgive each other and forgive yourselves, be at peace with each other and at peace with yourselves. Please and thank you. For any time you withheld love, for any time you coerced or entrapped another, violated their free will, and for any time anyone did this to you, please help all of you to forgive each other, forgive yourselves, be at peace with each other and peace with yourselves now and forever. Please and thank you. For any time you believed, felt, or were shown that you weren't enough, pardon me, for the times you tried to earn or learn your way into value in your family relationships or into the grace and love of the Creator. For all that led up to this, please help all of you to forgive each other, forgive yourselves, be at peace with each other and at peace with yourselves. Please and thank you. For all empathic hurts and wrongs, times you took on others' unresolved issues, carried or shouldered their burdens. For all adversity, struggle, and hardship that you saw, especially as children. Please help all of you to forgive each other and forgive yourselves, all family members, relationships, times this was done to you, times you did this to others. Please and thank you, infinite Creator, all that you are, please and thank you. For the times you weren't shown or encouraged to stand up, speak up, and do things your way. For the times you didn't feel safe to say no when appropriate. Please help you to forgive your parents, family members, relationships, help them all forgive you, help you all forgive yourselves. Please and thank you. For the times you were attacked, blamed, judged, or misunderstood. The times you did this to others. Please help all of you to forgive each other and forgive yourselves now and forever. Please and thank you. For any time you projected your parent or family issues onto your children, onto your relationships, and for the times this was done to you. Please help all of you to forgive each other and forgive yourselves now and forever. For all hurts and wrongs, anything we could have inferred had it served the highest good, we infer it now. For all that happened and all you made it mean, everything that led up to hurts, wrongs, limitations, burden, or any kind that's not serving the highest good. We ask all of you, everyone involved, to forgive your parents, grandparents, sibling, children, grandchildren. Help them all forgive you. Help you all forgive yourselves. Please and thank you. Help you forgive your lovers, lovers, spouses lovers, parents lovers. Help them forgive you and help you all forgive yourselves. Please and thank you. Your whole family and lineage. Help you forgive your cousins, aunts, uncles, step-in-laws, hidden, secret, foster, adopted, and all significant, other significant people, being family member relationships, role models, authority figures. Help them all forgive you, help you all forgive yourselves. Please and thank you. Infinite Creator, all that you truly are, please and thank you for the highest good. Please lift out all weight, pain, burden, sin, death, negativity, limitations, spells, hexes, curses, white magic, black magic, real or imagined. Lift us into your heavens, transform it into your love, and let your love flow back into them, all of you, giving you complete and total empowerment, integrity, peace, and love. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please lead, guide, and direct all of you into your perfect light, love, for the highest good, only and always. Please and thank you. Everybody take a breath in and let it out. And notice how that feels in the body.
Well, now it feels, I feel it all the way from the root chakra all the way up. I just feel
Yeah.
zoom, all the way up now.
That's a
After I've
that covers a lot. It pretty much covers all the chakras, that's for sure.
yeah. But I've had access to your clearing for a while. Thank you very much. And it's an amazing, amazing piece of work, and it's
Mm.
something that people should definitely use. Definitely. It is so helpful, so helpful.
Well, I love offering the work on a group level. I offer it once a month for free with the divinewellnesscommunity.com. Sundays at it'll be this Sunday. It'll be 4:30 to 5:30 Central Time online. Just the divinewellnesscommunity.com. You can get the link there. And then private sessions, you can just hit me up at elizabeth@elizabeth-kipp.com. Got to put the dash in there between Elizabeth and Kipp. Elizabeth@elizabeth-kipp.com.
Yes, it is amazing, and it's and working with you individually. Yes, people can do that as well, and of course, you teach yoga. People can work with you for that as well.
Yeah. The trauma-informed yoga is my specialty. I mean, I teach beginner yoga too, but and I can teach straight up Kundalini. But it's just I'm really a chronic pain specialist that uses all these techniques to support that. And so my client base is either yogis that they've been around, they're seasoned yogis, but they've got trauma, they've still got trauma in the system. Or we've got people that are chronic pain people that had never had yoga. So, right. And we have people that have had yoga, but haven't had the trauma informed method, which is a very specific. It's very targeted, and it's a very gentle way of doing yoga. It's not gentle like yin yoga, but it's we do bring a little bit of Kundalini in there, but which is a little, it moves energy pretty quickly. But we also do other things because trauma energy, unresolved trauma, gets stuck in the system, in the body, and we want to be able to help the body release that energy in a gentle way, gently, and that's why we do it the way we do it. Yeah.
Yes, gently is definitely important. We don't want to elicit more trauma, releasing the trauma.
That's right. And the thing that's so important, you always have agency. You have a choice in my class. You don't have to necessarily do what we're doing. If you need to rest, you just rest, right? It's interesting. The body, the brain can't really tell the difference between doing something for real and imagining doing it.
Right.
So if you feel like I can't even freaking do this, you can sit quietly and imagine that you're doing it and you still get benefit.
Yes, yes.
So we take advantage of that brain thing to in that way. Yeah.
Yes.
And then I teach tools around breathing to help calm the nervous system. And so that it's not just that during the yoga class that you're getting help, you have a tool to walk away with. You've got tools to walk away with into your life.
Yes, yes. And I've used the breathing techniques a lot too. Yeah, I enjoyed your classes. Yes, very much. Let's see if we have no questions. We still have our viewer though. We haven't lost our viewer. So
Awesome.
yeah. So yeah, we have our viewer, but no questions. But do you have anything to add, Elizabeth?
Well, we didn't even get to chronic pain, but I would like to say, oh yeah, I'll just talk about that a little bit. So I wrote a book,
Yes,
The
you
Way
did.
Through Chronic, The Way Through Chronic Pain: Tools to Reclaim Your Healing Power. That's really the scope of my work. I'm really directed at that part of the world. What is chronic pain? Chronic pain is any pain, physical, emotional, spiritual, doesn't matter. The brain can't tell the difference between one kind of pain and another. Any pain that's felt for 15 days out of 30 for 3 months or more is chronic. So people who have had a grief experience are either in chronic pain or in recovery from it. And this book addresses all of that, just as an example. There's the National Institutes of Health estimates 25% of the entire North American human population is in chronic pain across all socioeconomic measures. And the World Health Organization estimates 1/5 of the world is in chronic pain. So it's this silent epidemic. And so that's my area.
You know, I did not even realize, of course, you know, what I had gone through recently, the not being well and stuff. And I did not even realize, with all the ancestral clearing that I did and everything, a large part of what I was going through too is I had so many other emotional things going on, because I was going through, how do I get out of a marriage that is not working? And my dad had died, and I really
It's a
had
lot.
yeah.
Both of those things are a lot. Each one of those is a lot.
Well, I really had not grieved my son's death, because my son died in March.
That's a whole nother one.
Yeah, my dad had died in January, and then and I was trying to figure out, how in the world do I get out of this marriage that is not good? And I was clear across the country from everyone. And then my son died in March, um and one of the people here that I really don't know that well, but she's a very nice lady, and she spent some time with me, and we just talked about my son, you know, and I released so much in just that little bit of sharing, you know, because she had lost a son too, in a car wreck. And so we just shared just a little bit, but because what the reason this sharing did so much is I had the realization in that moment that I really had not let myself grieve about Michael. And I don't know why, but I was like, I stood there at that moment, and I'm like, I really haven't really grieved about this, you know, and I don't have words for it. It just hit me that I hadn't, and I just fell apart. But it's like I did it all right there, you know. I mean, just right there in that moment. And this woman that I really don't know, she was here because she runs the place I live in, you know. She's like the not the leasing agent, which is my friend, but she's over her even.
Super.
She was, yeah, she was
Supervisor.
here because I've had so many
Supervisor.
problems here. You know, I've had a laundry issue, I've had a safety issue, I've had a lock issue. So she was here because she's like, you know, we know you've had these issues for real. We know you've had these issues, and I'm here to make sure they get resolved. You know, I've had a issue with my heat vent and all this stuff, and she had lost a son too. And in that moment, I'm like, my God, you know, I really have not dealt with the fact that I lost Michael too. And but I mean, we just shared for just a little bit, both of us did. And it was like, but I think that the reason I was able to release it like I did is because of the work I've done with you and with the ancestral clearing stuff and the modalities. Is it was a release,
right.
and also, and I instantly filled it, like I said, with, okay, because I released. And there was a lot of stuff there, because he had muscular dystrophy, and he was schizophrenic, and he was, I mean, there was, you know, he was not able to live with me because of my own health conditions. And there was a lot of, well, that was at a time when, if you were getting a divorce and your children didn't live with you, well, you know what people thought of you. You know, if the mom got a divorce and her kids didn't live with her, you know what people thought. And so my own cousin stood in front of the bank in the small town we were at and said, at the top of her voice, how in the world could you give those babies away? You know? And so there was all of that. And I'm standing there going, you don't know what you're saying, you know? And so, but I released all of that and his death, and then started talking about all the Michael things, you know, and brought in all the good behind it, and all the things that he and I did do together, and the relationship we have now because of my gifts I have now. And I healed so much in like such a short amount of time. And I know that's because of the modalities
Mm,
that you do
mm,
and that you've brought into my world. And so, and I know I'm always singing your praises, but
mm,
there's a reason that you came into my life. And there's a reason why I share you so much, because
mm,
you've been so healing to me. And I know
mm,
that I have to share you with people, because I know there's so many people out there like me that
mm,
need to hear these things and know that if you
mhm.
have this in your life, this is the woman you need to reach out to,
Yeah.
because she does these things, and there are other people like her who do similar modalities.
Mhm.
And you know that and if this isn't the modality for you, then we're going to fight. Then Elizabeth will know
Mm.
someone and she will tell you. She
Find
will
another
say,
one. Yeah,
yeah, then
find another one.
let's find
That's
what
right.
will work, you know. So
That's right.
that's why we do what we do, is to get the people to you. And that's why I just share, okay, well, this is my life and this is what happened to me. And I just share it because there's somebody else out there I know who's gone through something like that. So I just tell it. And
Yeah, I'll say I spent such a long time locked up in chronic pain, and the only solution that the doctors had was, you're going to have it for the rest of your life, live with it, and here are your medication. Here's your opiates and benzos. That was their answer, and that was the only solution. Now I knew there was another solution. It
sure.
just took me a while to find it. Um, but that that's like living between a rock and a hard place.
Yes.
And I do the work I do now because people held me when I was between a rock and a hard place. And I swore if I ever got out of that rock and a hard place, that I would come back and serve, because of all the people that helped me.
And I don't know about you, but Elizabeth, I couldn't find anyone. When I was a little girl, I couldn't find anyone to talk to about what I was going through. When
Yeah, I get it.
I was
I
had
get
my
it.
son and I was in that relationship, I couldn't find anyone to help me.
I
Whenever
understand.
I couldn't find anyone. So now maybe I talk too much, maybe I share too much, maybe, but if it's helping anyone out there who doesn't know where to turn, then by golly, that's what I'm going to do,
Yeah,
because I couldn't find anyone. And so
I
that's
get it.
why I do what I do. So no one else is like, "Oh, okay, I don't know what to do." I don't want people between a rock and a hard place. I want them to know where the
Right.
Elizabeth Kipps are and
Mhm.
the other people that I bring here. I want them to
Yeah.
know where to
Yeah.
find you at.
There's a lot more tools now. Say, like when our parents were alive and dealing with their stuff, they didn't have these tools.
They didn't.
They didn't have all the work on trauma that we've done, and all the things that we've
Right.
learned. So, um, my parents got by on their wits,
Yeah.
and and um, and I did for a long time myself, until
So did I.
I I finally found some tools.
That's me too.
Anyway, well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
letting me come on again, and
Always.
sharing my stuff, and I'm quite happy and honored that you afford me such a beautiful space here.
Always. You know that. And to all of you, I know Elizabeth's got to run because she's got a full afternoon, so we're not going to keep going. But as long as we're breathing, we want you all to be living your best lives possible. So we're going to keep doing this. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for joining us.